Okay, so this morning we're going to do a bit of restorative work rather than more energetic action to work through neck and shoulder tension. So, for restorative work, remember it's always nice to start with to have a blanket over your main mat. You don't have to have one, but it just kind of quietens everything down a little bit. So we're going to do a sequence from a restorative yoga book. It's just a really nice sequence of poses that just give you relief. So first of all, let's just start just in a little gentle relaxation mode. We're not going to stay here for very long. We often start a restorative class with a relaxation pose. So you need a couple of blocks under your feet, a bolster underneath your knees, and then bring a blanket for underneath your head. And then bring your arms out to the side, and then release down into the floor. So restorative yoga in the morning can be a really good way of gently rejuvenating your body. So listen to the sound of the breath. Remember, if you're not comfortable, then adjust until you are comfortable. In restorative practice, comfort is paramount. Don't stay in one position when it's uncomfortable. Adjust. So perhaps you adjust the position of the head on the blanket, perhaps you adjust the shoulders, maybe the position of the bolster underneath your knees, maybe the position of the blocks underneath your feet. Just listen to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. Fill in your lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Spend a few moments just observing the physical body, drawing your attention down into the soles of the feet so that the soles of the feet come alive. The skin of the soles of the feet feel as though it comes to life. It can feel more conscious. That doesn't mean that it moves, just that you can feel the skin of the underside of the feet. And then consciously relax the underside of the feet from the skin into the flesh, into the muscle, into the bone, into the bone marrow. Draw your attention to the tops of the feet. So the same sensation of alertness in the skin, and relax the tops of the feet from the skin to the flesh, to the muscle, to the bone, to the marrow of the bone. Draw your attention to the shins, to the skin of the shins. Again, so that the skin becomes alert. And then relax the skin and the flesh, and the muscle, and the bone, and the marrow. So that the shin bone sits softly in the calf muscle. Draw your attention into your thighs. Bring in alertness to the skin. And then relax the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone and the marrow. Just relax in the thighs so that the fronts of the thighs sink into the backs of the thighs. Draw your attention into the torso. So from the abdomen to the shoulders, become conscious of the skin of the torso becoming alert. Consciously relax the skin, relax the flesh, relax the muscles, relax the bone, and the core of the bones. Conscious of the arms, how they connect to the floor. Drawing your attention into the arms, the upper arms and the lower arms. So that the skin becomes alert. And then consciously relax the skin. Relax the flesh. Relax the muscle. Relax the bone. And the marrow. Draw your attention to your hands. So that the skin becomes alert. And the hands and the flesh. Relax the muscles. Relax the bones and the marrow. Draw your attention to your neck. conscious of the skin around the neck. So that the skin becomes alert. Relax the skin and the flesh and the muscle. And the bone. And relax the marrow of the bone. And then draw your attention into your head. Making the skin surrounding the skull alert. And then relax the skin. Drawing the skin from the top of the skull down to the forehead, down to the ears, down to the neck. Relax the skin of the face and of the ears, and of the inner ear. Relaxing the skin and the flesh. And the muscle. And the bone. So although the body becomes hopefully entirely relaxed and passive, we can feel energy in the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone and the core of the bone. You're ready to bring yourself out of this mode of relaxation for a moment. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, and then bend your knees. Just rest your feet on the bolster. Have your feet apart, your knees together. And then just roll over and sit yourself up. So move your equipment out of the way, and then we're going to do a simple supported back bend. So you've got your bolster and you've got your blanket. Now just unfold your blanket like this and just roll up the end a little so that there's a little kind of extra lip. Now you might not like this. I'm not a big fan of having that little lip, but for your neck it could be a good. The blanket, and you're going to come down onto, it's a bit like setu banda, so you come onto your bolster. I'm coming into this one way around. So you're going to come down, just have the bolster handy. Don't know why I did it that way. Just come down onto the floor and then just roll the bottom of the blanket up so that it just supports the back of your neck. Then pull your feet in towards your neck, in towards your seat bones, and then lift up and bring the lower back, the lumbar and the sacrum area onto the bolster, and then just release into the floor. So actually it's when the mat's a bit thinner, it's actually quite nice to have that little support for your neck. So just bring yourself into this supported back bend. So you've got a little support for your head, little support for the back of your neck. If the support doesn't feel good in the back of the neck, then just remove it. Or make it bigger, just see how you can support your neck the best way. So as we progress into our practice, I'll speak less and less, so that you're not having to actively listen. You can simply experience the poses and relax. Remember, if the pose becomes uncomfortable, then adjust. Okay, in a moment we're gonna disturb ourselves and move ourselves out of this pose. So just lift up the seat bones and slide the bolster from underneath you, and then come down onto the floor with the seat bones, keeping the knees bent. And then very gently just roll yourself over onto your side, and then come up into the seated position. So if you've got an extra blanket, you can use an extra blanket for this pose. If you don't, then you can use a block. So if you've got one of these thin blocks, that's good for this. So it's just a wider blanket as we've got it. And then you come over down onto your back, and then you're going to keep your knees together, holding the block between your knees. And then you just draw the knees over to the right side. And if you want to, you can just gently turn your head to the same direction as your knees. So if you find it difficult to support yourself in this, you can put something underneath your knees. You can have your bolster to the side of you, just to kind of support, just to support the turn. So your knees are bending to the right side, your head is resting on the right side. So like I say, you can have support underneath the knees, bolster along the left side of the body, just for a bit of comfort. So there should be no effort involved in restorative yoga, or very, very little effort. Just release into the floor. Relax the shoulders and the neck. Aiming to keep both shoulders down on the floor. And then just very gently just move the bolster from the left side of the body if it's there. Just come back down to rest on your back. And then if you had the bolster on the left hand side of the body, bring it over to the right hand side of the body. Draw your knees over to the left. Just bring the bolster into the side of the body. Just bring your arms down onto the floor. If you want something to support your knees, then just put something underneath the outsides of the knees. So the knees are turning to the left, the head turns to the left. Keep the shoulders flat into the floor. Okay, and then just move the bolster from alongside the body. Just come back to the center. And then bring yourself up into a seated position. Just sit in cross legs for a moment. Just particularly. So we can do a supported child's pose with a little ramped bolster. So you'll need 2 blocks, and one is on its kind of long side, one's on its tall side, and then you're going to bring your bolster on top of there. Then you're going to put another blanket on top of that, and then you're going to sit with your knees either side of the bolster, and then you just come forwards and rest down, resting your head on one side to start off with, just letting your elbows just reach down, just hang down into the floor. But if that feels uncomfortable for your neck, then you can put a couple of blocks underneath your elbows just to support the neck a little more. And then if you can put another blanket on, you can put your blanket on top of the bolster if you want, just to give you a little extra height. And then just rest your head on one side. We're going to alternate which side of the neck, of the head you rest on, but do that in your own time. Just again, it's a good stretch for the neck, but a gentle stretch. So just alternate your head, just relaxing your shoulders. Release tension in your shoulders. Rest into bolster. Just alternate which side of your head you rest on. Maybe just experiment with giving yourself a little extra cushioning with the blanket, folding it over. This practice is purely about relaxation. And then push your hands into the floor, lift yourself up, sit back on your heels for a moment. And then we're just going to finish in our restorative surfboard pose. So have your bolster along the center of your mat, have block for your head, and just have your blanket on top of that block. You need enough space between the top of the block and between the block and your bolster to get your head. So you might have to just adjust the position of the block. If you've got anything to put underneath your shins, so maybe a little kind of folded up blanket, then put that underneath your shins. So your pelvis comes onto the bottom of the bolster, and your chin should hang off the edge. So it all depends on your particular body shape, really. But have the chin free of the end of the bolster. Rest your head on the bolster, on the block, sorry, and then just let your arms just rest into the floor. Just arms are resting on the floor, but they're stretching beyond your head. But they're not stretching actively, they're just resting. Your elbows wide enough apart so that you're not supporting your body. You might need to experiment with how high the blanket needs to be, or the folded blanket needs to be, to support your head. Resting the forehead on the block helps to quieten the brain. much as it would be nice to stay like this probably for the rest of the day, just because of time, we need to bring ourselves out of the pose. So push your hands into the floor underneath your elbow, underneath your shoulders, and then bring yourself up, and then just come up into cross-leg position, just sitting in your bolster. Just hold onto your knees, just draw the chin down to meet the chest for a moment. Jalandhara Bandha, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then release your head, bring your hands into Namaste. Just a final spinal lift, drawing your breath down into the abdomen. Practice this morning. And then when you're ready, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then as you release your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards, and as you open your eyes, raise your head. Thank you very much. Thank you. So a bit of calming, restorative, just to start the day on a good, calm level. So thank you very much for joining me.